Storyblocks Audio. 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 Storyblocks.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, okay. Hi, Gift. All right. Hello, and welcome to the second edition of Doowe's webinar series. And on this second edition, we will be talking about Autogas in Nigeria and opportunities for the future. My name is Denver Nota, and I'm here with my co-host, Gift Akor. Hello, Gift. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. And myself and
Hello.
Gift have
Hello,
the
Denver.
privilege. Hi, Gift. Myself and Gift have the privilege of moderating this live webinar series, which has been put together by Doowe. And Doowe is an award-winning LPG gas company and a leading supplier and distributor of liquid petroleum gas in Nigeria, allowing customers to use LPG gas to power their homes and businesses. Our company is an expert LPG procurement and commissioning, bulk gas storage, cylinder filling, and storage for. We also do LPG transport and delivery, installation, and maintenance. We are fully committed to supporting best practices and sustainable development concerning all environmental matters. We're constantly striving to offer a cleaner, more sustainable energy source for now, and we take pride in the professional ability to provide cleaner energy to all our energy needs, solutions for business entrepreneurs and individuals. Our core values that we have are professionalism, respect, integrity, dedication, and pure excellence. Once again, I welcome all of you to this webinar, and we would like for you to drop your name and your location and what you do in the comment box right below here. And if you have any
Yes.
questions
Thank you.
for our speakers for Doowe, you don't have to wait until the session is over before you drop your questions in the comment box. And yeah, you can get the questions rolling anytime now.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. I would like to add that you could also engage with us on social media. Like right now, while the webinar is going on, you could just engage with us on Twitter or Facebook. So if any of our speakers says something that you can relate to, so you could just pick it up, quote the speaker, and then just put it out there on Twitter or Facebook, anywhere with the hashtag Doowe Webinar Series. All right, so today we already have our two speakers with us, Mr. Taiwo Ajitumobi and Olusegun Olajuwon. Thank you so much for joining us today. Hello, Mr. Taiwo. So we are honored to have you with us today, sir. And Mr. Taiwo is going to be taking us on a little ride on the opportunities for Autogas in Nigeria right now. So, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay,
Oh,
yes,
fantastic.
I can hear you, but I think the feedback is not very clear. Please, I would like to confirm you can hear me. And
Yes, I
if
can
you're
hear you.
online, please, like we said, just okay. If you are currently online, please just drop your name on the comment box and let us know that you can hear us clearly. So if you can hear us clearly, please just drop it on the chat that you can hear us clearly.
I think all audio is
Okay.
perfect for now. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Great. So just a little bit about Mr. Taiwo. Mr. Taiwo is a partner at Passion Incubator, an early stage incubator, and
Okay. I think she may be having problems. But anyways, like I can introduce for myself. So like our first speaker is Mr. Taiwo, from Passion Incubator, a great man and partner of Passion Incubator, which is an esteemed company that supports small businesses, and gives them the resources that they need to start out their business. He has various experience in many different fields, and one of the positions is that he was the head of strategy of growth of the GEEP program, and we're honored to have you here, sir. And you'll be taking us for a ride on the opportunities for Autogas in Nigeria. Over to you now, sir.
Hey, thank you very much. Thanks for having me. It's a great pleasure to be here. I have been a friend of the house for quite a while, so I and the
Mhm.
Dewey team go way back. So really, really excited about the opportunities that are happening, that so coming up in the LPG space, and of course, hoping and rooting for Doowe Gas to make a killing out of all of this.
Mhm.
So like my introduction sort of mentioned, my focus for most of the last 7, 8 years has been in supporting small businesses, particularly in the tech space, and then do a little bit of work beyond that for businesses even much smaller, like essentially micro businesses, part of my work in development finance. And so I'm here to share my perspective on what this exciting event means for small businesses, and what it could mean for small businesses. So I'd like to just sort of jump right in, and please feel free to stop me at any point with questions. So the way I
Okay.
see it, what you have going on right now is uh, a seismic shift in how we consume energy in the country, right? And the
Okay.
good thing about it is that unlike most innovation that tends in Nigeria in particular um, to run around your government regulation, and then run the risk of going up against new government regulation. I mean, as late as yesterday, there was news released in Nigeria about how the purchase of foreign equities was going against the regulation of the SEC. And at least 3 or 4 fintech companies that hitherto have been doing extremely well that now have a direct threat to their business. So that's an example of how innovation goes up against
Yeah.
existing regulation. Well, the opposite is the case in this instance, right? Because you have government driving the change. You essentially
Yeah.
have the Nigerian government throwing its weight and muscle behind a switch to LPG consumption, particularly on our roads and to power homes. And so that means that it can only be a win-win-win situation for everybody. Second is that we have, you know, the resources to support this shift, right? Nigeria is extremely blessed with petroleum resources. and most Nigerians may know this already. If you think we're a crude oil powerhouse, think again. We actually have a ton more natural gas resources than we do crude oil. So we are set, long term. At least the Nigerian government is set long term to be able to power through the changes that need to be made, and shift
Yeah.
energy consumption to a significant component of it coming from gas. Now, what does this mean for small business, right? It means a once in a lifetime opportunity, right? Think about
Yes.
before there was electricity in Nigeria, right? And then electricity came, all sorts of things must have changed. And so if we cast our eyes to the future, where do we see the change coming from? Or rather, where do we see the opportunities coming from? This is not meant to be exhaustive. It's essentially just my point of view, and I encourage everyone listening to please seek for additional guidance, additional resources. Continue to ask those questions to really find what is the best fit for you. Um, so let's start
All
from
right.
sort of the value chain
All
itself,
right.
right? So
Can I just
gas.
stop?
Sure, go ahead.
Sorry, can I just I still have to introduce Mr. Olajuwon, our next guest speaker. But
Oh, I
we
apologize.
will go on for that. No. There's
Sure.
no need to apologize. I can see you're heavily into it. No, I see you're passionate about it. Like as you said, you're a passionate man. You aspire to see growth in this community, and yeah, since you've been working business development for so long, that seems to be an amazing thing. Yeah, but thank you for so much for that. But I will get back to you on that. It seems like a very, very insightful initiative that you have there. And now I have the honor of introducing our next guest speaker, which is Mr. Olajuwon, um, who is the CEO of THLD Commercials and THLD International Logistics Limited and Autogas of Africa as a part of the THLD group. He diversified into logistics with special focus on LPG and CNG trucks, and he has developed unflinching passion for Autogas and gave birth to THLD Logistics. And over to you now, sir. Like, uh, can you hear me?
Hello, can you hear me?
Oh yes, I can hear you now.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Pleasure to have
I,
you here.
wow, we're here to get it done. Yeah, we hope we can make a good representation of the promotion of gas as an alternative in Nigeria. So I'm happy to be on here to talk to everyone, talk to the team. Doowe has been a very good friend of ours, so we are pleased
Mm.
to be doing this with you guys. So we're looking forward to a very good section. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Mm. Oh, sorry. Can you hear me? Okay. Just continuing from where we left off. Thank you, Mr. Olajuwon, for being here. And yeah, it was very nice to hear from you and what you have to say for us. And now I'd like to invite both guest speak guest speakers on. Yeah. And thank you, gentlemen, for being here. It's such a pleasure to have you here. Now, I just wanted to jump off straight into the first question. Like as Mr. Taiwo, you were saying, there have been some recent government regulation that you have to go over when it comes to LPG gas. And recently, there has been a push for Autogas in Nigeria. recently. I think it was launched last year. Can you take us through that? That if you have any knowledge of that.
So I do understand that through the NNPC, and probably Olajuwon would be able to speak in greater detail, right? Since he's the subject matter expert on the industry. I know that the NNPC, I believe, in conjunction with the federal government, is driving um, quite a bit of transformation in the sector, trying to get Nigerians to shift car energy consumption to Autogas. And there's a program they've launched to essentially help finance that change. Um, but I would take that as a signal of more to come. And if we do think more is coming, then where are the opportunities for businesses? And so let me first pitch my tent at on the question of where are the opportunity for businesses, and then I'll ask that Olajuwon please help me answer the first question, which is, what really is going on exactly, behind the hood, right? What are the regulations that are coming out that are going to drive this change? So when you see industries shift like this, I think a couple of different places where
Mhm.
businesses can position themselves. Number one is directly in the value chain, right? Of the core product. So, I don't anticipate that I will ever raise, the $5 billion needed to set up a new exploration facility and processing facility. But if I wanted to jump in
Yeah.
tomorrow, one place to start will be in distribution and storage, right? And if I had a little bit of cash and I wanted to get into specific points in the value chain for gas, it would be to first pick up a distribution and storage franchise. And it just so happened that we know a fantastic company that can help with that, Doowe Gas.
Mhm.
So I know you guys have quite a bit of work set up their own independent, last mile distribution locations. So I think that's the first opportunity. Trying to figure out how do you put that. I'll put that at a point where people purchase their automobile power essentially in gas stations, right? Um, the
Mhm.
second is I believe in retrofitting. So I think the first is maybe distribution, storage,
Yeah.
dispensing. The second is in retrofitting, right? Most cars on the streets of Nigeria today run on your classic, PMS driven, cylinder model, right? Petroleum motor spirit, petrol basically, engine
Mhm.
system. And so you have to change that. And that is a big change up front. The engineer in me says that that's a massive change. I don't even know the technical details in it, but it feels like quite
Yeah.
a bit of things have to be redone. And so there's an opportunity for someone with the experience to do that, to essentially step in and fill the gap for the hundreds of thousands of motor vehicles we have across the country. And it's another fantastic company, that we know that does exactly
Yes.
that. And everyone can speak to kind of the details of what he and his guys are doing. I think it's fantastic work. Um, and then you have a couple more sort of areas of opportunity that are adjacent to those first two in the value chain. One is maintenance. A gas engine may operate different from an automobile engine, and so you would need a different set of skills
Mhm.
to maintain it. And the last one, which is really exciting for me, and where a lot of people do not always see this immediately, is financing. Right? Um, that
Yes.
shift is going to require some capital upfront, and I think for people who are willing to make that shift, a combination of the cash upfront and the long-term savings, those two things have to come together to make financial sense. And the more help they have from a financial standpoint in making that choice, right, the more promising that decision is, right, the more likely that decision is. And so for people who are able to make support from a financial standpoint, I think there's a fantastic business opportunity here. I think that's kind of where, and then that's a gap that NNPC is trying to fill, right, by coming up with like,
Yeah.
you know, subsidy tickets to support it. But as you can tell, I have just sort of shared an overview of the opportunities, right? Distribution, storage, dispensing, retrofitting, maintenance, and financing. And so, specifically to answer your question, those are the areas where I see opportunities for small businesses. But maybe I should hand off at this point to speak in greater detail on what's really happening with this thing going on with NNPC.
All right. All right. Thank you for that. Those some very points there. actually like think about that can actually help like small businesses operate in like the field of autogas and how many opportunities out there that there are for them. Mr. Olajuwon, can you get to like go further into that as well? What are your thoughts on like the future and opportunities when it comes to autogas?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Sorry, I think he may be having some technical difficulties. Okay, I think he might be having some technical difficulties at the moment. Um, but hopefully we can like continue. Hopefully he will get that fixed soon enough. And oh, okay, and now just going on for about like you've talked about like small businesses, and since you're a person that likes to like basically like help these businesses start off. So if there were to be like what technology would be needed like in order to implement like auto gases, like the switch from regular petrol to auto gas, like as we all know, auto gas has like more benefits to the environment and it is economically better for people. How can people change from using petrol to auto gas?
Yeah. So you have a bunch of new players in the space that are essentially offering this exact service, right? To help the average guy on the
Yeah.
street retrofit his vehicle to support Autogas. And by the way, this is nothing, it's new in Nigeria, but from a global standpoint, it's not necessarily new. And so, which means that it's not risky, right? It's been done before extensively across pretty large countries. Um, and so Nigeria is essentially following the lead of other gas-rich countries. My understanding is that the combustion engine itself is what needs to
Mhm.
be changed, and then that allows the vehicle produce power in essentially the same way you would produce with a petroleum engine, but this time around with gas. That's one. And then the storage unit of the vehicle. Whereas the petrol tank will take liquid, now you need a system that can essentially take natural gas. And by the way, we do already have vehicles on the streets of Nigeria that use gas. Um,
Yeah.
you may notice at some point when you look at the Dangote trucks or the flour mill trucks, some of
Hmm.
them run on natural gas. And essentially, the reason why they do that is that it helps them go for much longer periods of time. It's much cheaper. If you have a fleet of 1,000 trucks, then that savings starts to add up very quickly. Um, so I think from an engineering standpoint, the combustion engine, the fuel storage system in particular,
Yes.
and of course, the interchange between those two systems. So the hose you would need to move fuel from one point to the other in the vehicle, all of that needs to change. But from the point where that is converted to power, right? Nothing else,
Yes.
nothing else changes, right? So which means that your radios and your AC will be exactly the same. Your power steering, your power windows will be exactly the same. You don't need to freak out. Your new Mercedes Benz
Yes.
will be exactly what you expect it to
It'll
be.
be
Uh,
just as it is.
exactly. But in the long term, you will then be able to have this massive energy savings. Does that answer your question, Denver?
Oh
Oh,
yes,
okay.
it
Joe,
does.
but I do suggest you pose the same exact question to Olajuwon.
All right, Mr. Olajuwon, are you here? Okay, can you hear us?
yes, I can hear you guys. I'll be hearing everyone. I don't know. Maybe it's the network from my end. I don't know.
Oh, no, no, no worries as well. Like I was just speaking to Mr. Taiwo here about like what technology would be needed to like implement autogas, like making that switch from cars using petrol to autogas. Like how would that work, in your opinion?
Yeah. If you can hear me, which I believe you
Oh, we
can,
can hear you. We can hear
the plan is to encourage the switch to auto. Yeah, the plan is to encourage the switch to auto gas. And it has been something that everyone has been talking about for the past few years. But the fact still remains: how do we make this happen? There's a lot of requirements to achieve make this big switch. If there's gas, which we have, so how do we encourage the switch to autogas? It will not just happen overnight. There's a process where we can achieve this. We need people that will convert these engines to run on gas. We need people that will educate others on how these gas can be used successfully without any fear. We have all this fear factor of gas. So how do we manage this transition into gas? So again, that's where the youths have a role to play. Just like the way we have the computer village many years ago, whereby before everyone is fixing phones, everyone is selling phones. We have people that are selling recharge cards. So in the chain of mobile communication, we were able to identify different kind of jobs for people in different ways. The same thing we will be having in terms of Autogas and the switch to gas. We have those that will be the converters. We have those that will be all their job is just pure calibration, and this is just in line with anyone that is so familiar, that is so computer literate, can do this calibration. We also have those who do the servicing part of the conversion of engine. So there is that potential of giving jobs in millions, not in thousands, not in hundreds of thousands, in millions to Nigerians, mostly youth, to see how we achieve and adopt the transition to gas. And there's a whole lot of work that needs to be done, but there's a need for us to have the right point and the right time to key into this transition to gas. So I believe it's going to happen, and it is happening. So many things are happening. We have been part of it, and we are still very much involved in the as a stakeholder in the promotion of gas as an alternative. So we will have to understand, for us youth, we need to also find a way to key into it. It requires no knowledge per se. All it needs is just the desire to want to go into a new field. So yes, I believe I've shed more light on your questions, and I hope the internet and the network will allow to talk more about this. Thank you very much.
No, thank you so much, Mr. Olajuwon. That was a very excellent question that was a very excellent answer from you. And do not worry about the network; we can hear you just fine. It's such a pleasure having you here. So have like a question from Gift. Is like, what would be the start point for someone who would like to come into the Autogas business? Like, where do you start off from going into this area of the business?
Is that a question?
Yes, that's a question. Like, yeah, what would be the start point for
Yeah.
someone who would
Well,
like to come
it
into?
depends. You see, yeah, it depends on where the person is. There is also the need for you to
Yeah,
identify your strengths. So once you identify your strengths, you know where you can key into it easily. And for instance, we recommend people with a mechanical background to try and see how they can achieve the knowledge transfer of conversion. We've seen also guys that have been to us with mechanical engineering degrees and all of that. But we also noticed that one of the things we've also seen in them is the practical part of it, which they are lacking. So there's also the need for us to see how that knowledge can be imputed into them. Then also, we also see the importance of computer-based calibration, where the calibration process will be achieved in the process whereby after all the technicians, as they've done their conversion, they've done all the wiring and all of
yeah,
that, we can have a calibrator who will just connect the computer to the vehicle that has been converted, and you do the calibration perfectly. And also, this is another part of the job. So the business must identify where their strength lies in, and that is the best way to key into it. And it's very important. Some might just be as good as as marketing it and bringing the client to the converters. So you need to identify your strengths and you can now key into it in the right direction. It will happen. Just like I said, the way mobile phone
Yeah.
took over Nigeria many years ago, Autogas will do the same. We will have converters practically everywhere. We will have installers practically everywhere. We will have people selling conversion kits and also spare parts for this conversion kit practically everywhere. Take
All right.
advantage of this opportunity, which is being backed by the federal government to put ourselves in positions whereby we can key into it. And I can say for sure, there's a lot of money to be made from it.
Hmm.
And you can have a good life for yourself and also add value to the environment by promoting a cleaner form.
Wow. Well, thank you for that. Thank you for that answer. Like, so it seems to be like a really simple industry to enter into because, um, like it's just starting off as like any other business, but like more like using that technological expertise, as you say, like knowing your environment and knowing what to do and how to, and knowledge be on that certain topic of using an auto gas and mechanics. But thank you for that question. Thank you for that answer. And now we have a question from one of the viewers, from Ifeanyi Fidelis, and they ask, what are the possibilities that Nigerians will accept to this auto gas project?
Sorry, come again?
We have a question from one of the viewers, from Ifeanyi Fidelis, who asks, what are the possibilities that Nigerians will accept to this auto gas project?
Well, possibilities in terms of what comes with the Autogas
Mm.
project. Like I said earlier,
Yes.
I hope I'm getting the questions right. Um, there's so it's see the thing is, people, we've had quite a lot of engagement where people are saying, it's going to be difficult to switch to Autogas and
Mhm.
all of that. But my response to them is, once we have vehicles running on petrol, once we have
Yeah.
that, once that is also that is still happening, which will continue to happen for a very, very long time, we will have the switch to Autogas because it's just fuel, and the fear and the concern that people do have about gas is not as
Hmm.
dangerous as we think. I made an illustration weeks ago about aircraft. For instance, aeroplane, if that happens or start last year, I probably will be one of those that will not fly on the plane because I'll say, bloody hell, I'm not going on that big thing on the air. But we grew it, we knew it's flying. No one asked those difficult questions. No one is asking
Yes.
how it flew, how the whole thing is happening. So into it, we understood it's flying, and no one is asking questions, and people are flying into it. So imagine that
Hmm.
and just a car running on gas, which runs on petrol, a petrol that we can get from crude oil that we get in the same gas from if it's associated gas or the other way around. So it's the mentality is a mindset. And when you have a
Hmm.
mindset of a layman or amateur understanding, then it is your responsibility as a professional to educate that person and that mind on the possibility of gas. The gas that runs
Yes.
through our engines are clean, the petrol and the diesel. So the opportunities is vast and is very big, but we have to do a lot of work in terms of encouraging people on the benefit and the advantages that is there for
Hmm.
auto gas. But people need to understand it on the level of a professionalism, on the level of expertise, then they can be able to convince others. Imagine having 10 reasons why you don't want to use gas, and I only have 5 reasons why you should. So you've won.
Yes.
But if you have 10, I should be having 10,000. You can always have a
Hmm.
reason to counter your own reason, not want to. So many things that we have to look into. It's a whole lot of work, but yes, got advantage of this big transition to gas.
All right. Thank you for that question. Thank you for that answer again. Uh, like beautifully answered as always. Like you're giving out some great answers here. And as you're saying, it's all about embracing that that new innovations. Like as you said, like some people they go on planes, but like if planes were invented like last year, you wouldn't go on to them. But like you see like the benefits that it has for everyone else in there. Like you see, and like Autogas could have so many benefits for like everyone around there. Um, thank you so much, and I hope that answers the questions for the viewer. And we have a question here for both, yeah, Mr. Ladron and Mr. Taiwo, and it's an anonymous question, and it asks, how much typically would it cost to convert a car from petrol to auto gas? Now we get to answer that question.
I suggest more things to that.
Oh, Dean, how much do you think it will typically cost to convert a car from petrol to auto gas?
It depends. It depends on the engine. There's a whole lot of costs to break down. It depends on the engine, and it depends on there's quite a lot of different quality stages and level for conversion kits. There's too many in the markets.
Hmm.
So, I think I have one on my table here. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's once you see the product, you see the quality in them. So
Yes.
it depends on the engine, it depends on the car, it depends on how much you're willing to spend as well. But for us in Autogas Africa, we have a different pricing structure. The cheapest conversion for a four-cylinder will be between uh, uh, 260 to 270,000 naira. So there's a whole lot of futures and boxes to tick to be able to ascertain what is the best price for a particular conversion. But the question is, do you need to convert your car? Do you have
Hmm.
to convert your car? If you're using your car once a week, twice a week, do you have to convert your car? My answer is probably no. So you have to look at the usage of your.
Oh, sorry. I think he might be having internet issues at this point.
Can you hear
Oh,
me? Taiwo here.
oh yes, we can hear you, Mr. Tyler.
Yeah.
I think
Do you want to
Mr.
roughly?
Ladron may be having
Yeah, I
issues
have
at the
some.
moment.
Well, let me jump back to the previous question, which is what are the possibilities that
Yeah.
Nigerians will accept Autogas project. To
Yes.
be sort of direct in answering that, and from a macro standpoint, I think it's inevitable. Very much in the
Hmm.
way Nigerians accepting cell phones was inevitable. Like it may seem as though it's a lot of money, 260,000, minimum wage is 30,000. The average person cannot afford.
Yes.
But you see, there are certain things that, the way I see it, certain things occur in life as a function of the wheel of progress. And a wheel of progress will always roll forward, right? It never rolls
Yes.
backward. If it temporarily goes back and you have some anomalies, in reality, life we will continue to roll forward. And we've seen that
Hmm.
play out in telecommunication, right? And over time, the cost has gone down significantly, and the quality has gone up, right? When we started experiencing the new sort of regime of telecommunication in Nigeria, the standard was a 1.5 2G connection.
Yes.
Now we're talking about 5G, right? Now we're talking about,
Hmm.
I'm doing this interview with my cell phone data as a hotspot,
Yes.
right? I'm doing it on my phone. So now not only are we able to power our mobile devices, we're able to power other devices as a tag along, right? And stream Netflix and all these interesting things that we couldn't do 10 years ago. So what's the point, right? It's only going to continue to roll forward, right? And I think that's why it's important that people get in on it now, because the technology is definitely going
Yeah.
to become better over time, and the economics will make more sense. And so you're essentially getting at the ground floor, especially from a business standpoint, right? Whatever it is you need to do, just get in now, right? Whether it's showing
Yes.
up at the retrofitting center to say, hey, I want to get trained as a technician, or it's getting all the material you can get online to read up about it, or it's knocking on the door at Doowe Gas to say, hey, I want to set up a distribution system. Get the
Yes.
information, because the information that really empowers you. And the more data you get, the more information you get, the more you can see where you fit in the different opportunities, and then just start.
Hmm.
Uh, I know Olajuwon had
Yeah.
mentioned the price of 260 to 70K. I believe that there is a subsidy program to bring that cost down for Nigerians, so that the early
Really?
adopters get an opportunity to do it at a much lower price. Um,
Hmm.
then the other thing I believe you will see in the market is people who are operating large fleets will start to switch to natural gas. In addition to the fact that it's cheaper, it is not as exposed to FX disruption as petrol
Yeah.
autospirit is, PMS, because we import essentially all our petrol, but all our natural gas is produced locally, right? And so whether or not there's a
Oh,
dollar fluctuation, you can get supply of gas, right? The question is really now, where do you want to pitch your tent? Do you want to build your dispensing system in Ikorodu,
yes.
or do you want to build in Makodi? And you kind of figure that out on your own. So that's my 2 cents on that. Um, yeah. So
No,
yeah,
all
there you
right.
go. Back to you.
All right. All right. Thank you, Mr. Tyler, for that for that answer. Like, it seems like it's just like embracing that innovation. Embracing that innovation. Like, it's definitely going to happen. Like, it's definitely going to happen to the point where we will move on to like the next best thing that is best for us. And as you said, like, it's so much easier to basically just get any information about this, and then it's so there's help involved as well, like, as you're saying, the government initiative that can actually help people change from petroleum to autogas as well. um but yeah, like as you said, um for us as Dewey, just like the last question from all, just a quick final last question, um, is that which generation will probably be the most, will be against this idea? Like the a young or the older generation? Like, who will be the most difficult to accept this transition?
I think we know the answer to that, right? Probably the older generation. They grew up in a different world, and even though we know that change is the most constant thing in life, the rate of change that we've experienced in the last 20, 30 years is significantly higher, right? So the world is evolving much faster, and you see that pushback in many other
Hmm.
sectors. Well, we have something on the side of this movement, which is the might of the government, right? In any country, the government is always going to be the biggest, most powerful entity, and so it's inevitable, right? But I also think that what you will find very quickly is that the guys who understand the opportunity, older or not, will become the loudest champions for this opportunity. So you may very well start to see big uh, leaders in the oil and gas industry start to advocate for this soon, as they start to see the
Hmm.
economic opportunity, right?
Yes.
And I think we can all benefit from that as well, right? So that's my 2 cents. That yes, at a high level, we do expect more pushback from older people, but in
Hmm.
reality, I expect that to dissipate very quickly, right? Because their peers will essentially come back and say, okay, no, 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 that's actually not. It's not as bad as you think. Here's what the cost savings look
Yes.
like. Well, what I can think are some quick sort of things that will be good to persuade the public is just a quick analysis of the benefits, right? There's a quick analysis of the benefit,
Hmm.
right? You have a Toyota Camry 2012, four-cylinder engine, right? What would it cost if you're driving your car 5 times a week, at least, for 30 minutes? This is what you're
Yeah.
spending in petrol, right? In petrol cost every month. Well, if you retrofit at this price, and you consume gas going forward, you will break even in 6 months, and from then onward, you will save 10,000 naira a month. Right, that's a very easy
Yeah.
picture. See, at the end of the day, right, we will be moved by the numbers. We won't be moved by the technology on this one. It's
Yes.
the cost that will make people decide. And when you tell them that, oh, by the way, in addition to this, the federal government will pay X% of that retrofitting, so you actually break even in 3 months and not 6 months, then it sells itself.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So I think
Yes,
for people in
basically.
the industry, somebody needs to do that, and someone needs to like share that like everywhere, put it everywhere on social media, and you will be surprised at the demand that will come out of that.
Yeah. Thank you very much,
So
Mr. Taiwo. I was going to
I
ask
was
a question while you were
just,
talking.
yes, please go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say the how. How exactly is this education? How can we educate more people on this? But I think you just mentioned it now that one of the major ways is to um more like spread the news all across
Yeah,
everywhere, social media.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And just
yeah.
one more question in addition to what you just said. Yeah, we know that it's going to be more difficult to, convince the older generation. But can you say that it's necessary for us to try to also convince the older generation, or do we just try to focus on the younger generation?
The reality is, I think you should just focus on where you can make money. You know, so let's take my own family for instance, right? My parents have a car. I have a car. I kind of make my choices and my decisions, right, with or without them. For the big things, of course, we discuss it, but for the small things, like where I purchase fuel every day, right, that is really within my remit. Um, so I think you will always have a big question around safety and demonstrating that this is safe, as safe, if not safer, than the
Mhm.
traditional way of running a PMS driven cylinder system, right? But once you can do that, then I don't really think you need to spend that energy trying to convince the older generation. What will happen is over time, they will realign with it. For instance, WhatsApp once upon a time, you couldn't find anybody over 40 on it. Now everybody's on the WhatsApp group, including grandmas and, older people. So people will align with that future. I think there's certainly spending the energy with your, professionals who have a vehicle, who have capital to make this switch, who are bearing the cost on an ongoing basis. And that's not a very large layer, right? It's a very thin layer in society. You can be very targeted about converting those guys.
Mhm. Wow. Thank you very much. That was really clear, Mr. Taiwo. Thank you. Think I see that Mr. Olajumo is with us. I don't know. Mr. Olajumo, can I ask one question? Can you hear me clearly? So we have one question for you, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, we know that you've been in the industry for quite some time now. So what would you say to someone who is just joining the business, someone like a startup, someone who is just trying to get into the gas business? What would you share as one of your biggest challenges in this industry?
Well, there's like you said, we've been here for a while. We have a name now, and I can say that confidently.
Yes.
We have a name, a big name, and I can also say this confidently. We have the biggest name in the alternative fuel. So it's
Wow.
different from gas. Alternative fuel, we have one of the big, in fact, the biggest in Africa so far, with a very strong connection.
Mm, okay, I think it's yeah.
I
So
think
far, I
I'm
think
not
it's off.
sure.
Yeah, once again, guys, I know you're there. Please, you could just drop a few more questions while we round up. So we're just almost tying everything together. We'll still be waiting for Mr. Olajuwon to join us, but you could still drop a few questions in the comment box. Yes.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, you can go on, sir.
Am I back
Yes, you are.
again? I have to say now, guys, you need to find a purpose for it. You need to identify your strengths as well. And also, there's another thing that I've also seen that we're missing out in the whole thing is partnership. We also need to look at where your partnership, your strengths, and your weakness. So instead of claiming to be one man kind of soldier, identify your weakness and make sure that you are able to get someone that is strong in that part of it, so you can come together and build a very strong team. It's better to win a market than to lose a market. So it's a whole lot of requirement, but identifying the purpose of going into business is the number one thing. Then you need to be able to stand the test period. There's gonna be a lot of no, 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 no. But trust me, those no's are building you for many years, yes, 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 that will come later on if you don't give up. So that's my belief, and that's what we've been building on. And trust me, when we were like when we started, we are today, we've made tremendous success. We're in almost 7 African countries conveniently, and we're doing well there. So guys, it is identifying that purpose first, and from there we'll move. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that. I think it's so clear. So you mentioned purpose, strength, and partnership. Because regardless, if you're coming into the industry, whoever, definitely you can know it all. You still have your weaknesses, which is why partnership is actually very important while getting into the business. Thank you very much for that, Mr. Olachunwo. And we're trying to repeat the fact that the federal government of Nigeria has declared this decade a decade of gas, and there are just like all we have discussed for the past over 40 minutes, the opportunities in this particular industry are completely endless. It is cheaper, cleaner. So why not? There is basically nothing that is going to stop this particular movement. So we thank you so much, Mr. Taiwo, Mr. Olajuwon. Thank you so much for sharing so much with us. And we are going to be having our next webinar next month in the month of May, and would like to say you should all stay tuned. And if you have more questions, you would like to know more, you can contact us in our website, on our website, doowe.com. And if you would like to reach any of the speakers, you could still reach us on our website. We have a chat box there. If you would like to ask some questions, reach Mr. Olajuwon and Mr. Taiwo, you could we always respond on. Or you can connect with us on social media too, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Instagram. We are there at your service. And we are going to be bringing more information around this particular sector to you next month, because you already heard what we do, what we are about, and we are committed to see change. And beyond the opportunities and the finances that this particular industry can bring to you, we are also looking forward to how we can contribute our quota to the growth of our country, Nigeria, because when this transition happens and we have more opportunities, we are going to see a very clear, distinct growth in the economy of Nigeria. So next month we're coming back to you with something else, and we're going to be having more conversations. So please connect with us on our social media platforms, and if you have, just
Yeah.
stay tuned. We are going to be bringing more information for you. And also, this particular webinar is going to be recorded, so you could have access to it on YouTube and also on our website. So I would encourage you all to just check out our website. We have a knowledge center there where we have more information, a whole lot information about the entire anything Autogas. So you would want to go to our knowledge center to get more educated in this industry. So that will be all for today. Denver, would you like to say something?
Yeah, basically just what you said. Like, yeah, especially like the knowledge center. Like if people want to learn more about Autogas and other like energy initiatives out there, they can just go to Doowe Gas, which is doowe.ng. And like also Doowe is also a company like we're setting up an Autogas center around Nigeria as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Please join us for like the next one as well. Yeah, as you said, GIF, it's in the month of May, and we should be announced the date like once everything is settled. But I'd like to thank Mr. Olajuwon and Mr. Taiwo for coming on and having this webinar and sharing the information, sharing the most valuable information. And I believe we can find them also on LinkedIn.
Yes.
Um, yeah, yeah, you can find us on LinkedIn and them on LinkedIn. But thank you, and yeah, that's all from me.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So we've come to the end of this webinar. So we see you next one with something more.
Storyblocks Audio.